What's going on, guys? This is the Forward Sports Media Podcast. We're on episode 26. My name is Thomas Hampton.
My name is Trey Foshi.
And we're about to hit you with a quick little update as we lead into the Chess.com Invitational, our first Disc Golf Pro Tour event of the season.
The tour is back. I am so ready. So ready.
It's going to be really good. So we're going to hit you with an all-star event recap. We're going to do a Chess.com Invitational preview, talk about our picks throughout the season, the point structure that we're going to follow. Then we're going to hit you with a little bit of a PDGA type update in two different segments. One talking about some new rankings that they'll be, I guess, starting to produce themselves. And then a new disc update will be back with Trey at the very end.
Yeah, so we're going to shake some things up a little bit this season. We're going to bring some new content throughout the year. But this podcast, we're just going to keep it pretty basic, go back to the basics. New point structure for picking our players, but it's going to be a good time. And let's just jump right into the All-Star Weekend update.
Yeah, so we're going to be very quick with this segment. It's happened. You're probably already aware of it, but we want to make sure that we hit this. We've got three different competition winners. We've got the distance competition. We had Anthony Barella and Elireza Midling that took down the distance competition. No real super surprises there, but it's nice to see Barella finally take down
the distance competition. Absolutely. These two are known for their distance. That's what they do. And it was kind of surprising, though, that Albert Tam didn't put up more of a fight. And same with Ella Hansen. I mean, Midling and Barella just completely ran away with it.
Yeah, it was fun, though, to see Calvin take a stab at it, even though he wasn't really that close to taking it down. Calvin's not one that typically wants to perform in something like that. And so I want to say his max was maybe like 550 that he threw.
No, he came in like third. He got in the sixes.
Did he get in the sixes? The first three throws that I saw, they mentioned that he seemed very uncomfortable just because he's used to throwing just a stock hyzer shot more often, whereas somebody in the distance competition knows that I'm going to have to hit a huge flex, oftentimes hitting a big turnover into a flex to get the most possible distance.
Yeah, it's a unique shot for sure. That Calvin is known for his laser beam hyzer flips and things like that. And so it was cool to see him compete and actually beat some people. It was pretty good.
Yeah, and then we went straight into the putting competition. I mean, we talked about it last time. This was expected.
There were no surprises here. Andrew Marwee takes it on the MPO side, and Owen Scoggins, the queen of putting, takes it down on the FPO side.
Which one thing that I found interesting, and I always find this interesting, is seeing the replay of Owen in the putting competition. She hit it was like
21 in a row.
Yeah, but Owen does have a wobbly putt, and seeing some discourse throughout the comments about okay, how is she so good at putting, but her putt is so wobbly, and honestly, the wobble does play to her advantage. It stabilizes the putt a little bit, allows the wind to affect it maybe just a little bit less.
Yeah, and I've even seen other golfers, especially for shorter putts, you'll definitely see Chris Dickerson from time to time, who is an excellent putter.
Right.
You'll see the wobble on his putt. And he has talked about how it's an intentional move that it catches the chains better.
Yeah.
So
definitely just creates more space for it to hit on the chains. It can potentially grab onto a random segment that might catch just a little bit better, but it's unique. Maybe it's something we need to start putting into our games on purpose.
I need any help I can get with my putting.
Exactly. So. On the accuracy side, we had Chris Dickerson and Jessica Weiss take it down. What's new? Maybe the only thing I would have anticipated is that Sarah Holcomb is just honestly really good at accuracy, and it was fun to see her go out there and actually throw a couple backhands during that competition.
She did
very well.
Yeah, she had a great backhand. She just feels way more confident with the forehand, and for good reason. Now, I will say it was a pleasant surprise to see Jessica Weiss take this event down. She had some great competition in there. You mentioned Sarah Holcomb, others as well. But to see Jessica Weiss take it down on an event that's really important for your game, to be able to throw an accurate shot, I mean, maybe it speaks for good things coming in Jessica Weiss's future.
Yeah, definitely. So all of that to say, Trey and I made a little friendly wager prior. And so prior to talking about the winner, what was that bet, Trey?
So we made a wager on the MPO side, just the overall winner. So Team Isaac versus Team Calvin.
You chose Team Isaac.
I did.
I chose Team Calvin.
You did. And the loser has to give a disc to a person at the Music City Open. The first person who recognizes us and asks us if we have given the disc away yet or not.
Exactly. So with that in mind, Trey got it right. Team Isaac took the win down on the MPO side 5-4. Now, I may complain a little bit and say that, the doubles portion was cut a little bit early. 9 holes instead of 18, but nonetheless, I took a loss, and I will be purchasing a disc. I don't know, and I'll think on it prior to going. I'll wait and see if there's something.
I get to pick.
Oh, you get to pick the disc. Oh, we said up to $25.
Yes, I'm not going to make you buy a 2016 Sexton Firebird.
That would be a tough
scene. That would be a tough scene.
You won't get to know until we're there. So if you're not there and you don't ask us, you won't find out.
So yeah, Team Isaac takes it down, and then on the FPO side, Team Missy Gannon has a pretty dominant victory over Tim Goggins. Yeah. And so
if you looked at any of the results, especially the double side, it was insane. Like the scoring differential was wide. Like most of the MPO side was within a few strokes, and there was one in FPO matchup that was within a few. But the other 2 FPO matchups, it was like an 8 to 11 stroke differential.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. I'll just mention this really quickly. In the doubles competition, the one group that stood out to me the most was Ella Hansen and Allie Smith. Mm-hmm. They absolutely shredded Kat Mersch and Macy Vela Diaz, which
not even close.
Which, in my head, those 4 players are kind of right there together in the same tier. And so to see that happen, I mean, it seems like Ella and Allie may have taken a couple of steps this offseason. So,
yeah.
I mean, I'd be watching out for them in these upcoming events. Speaking of which, we got the first one. The Chess.com Invitational.
We do.
Is this week.
It's just like we've been waiting for this all off season ever since USDGC. I mean, we love the Disc Golf Pro Tour finale, but there's nothing quite like a true disc golf tournament like USDGC finished us for the year. So it's exciting to be back, and it's very unique to have Chess.com, an outlet, a sport, chess, a sport.
Absolutely.
I love chess personally, but grew insanely throughout the pandemic, and especially the media presence in relation to that. You see somebody like Hikaru Nakamura, you see, is it Levy Rosman, Gotham Chess come in, you've got the Botez sisters that go absolutely crazy on Twitch, and chess just explodes online. You get events like Ludwig Ogren's chess boxing tournament that roll in. I mean, there's just tons of chess and media going together. And like chess and boxing can go together, let's see what chess and disc golf do. There'll be a chess.com fan tent there at the event. I'll be curious to see what exactly that connection entails throughout the event.
Yeah, I mean, chess and disc golf were kind of the 2 big things that were going on during the pandemic. People flooded to disc golf just like they did to chess. Mm-hmm. And so it's good to see that these 2 brands who grew together are collaborating. And so I think it's going to be an exciting event on a new course to the tour.
Yep. Where are we playing at, Trey?
Olympus DGC, formerly known as the Throwdown the Mountain course.
Owned and operated by the Paul Macbeth and
the Dylan Cease.
Yes, sir.
Professional baseball player for the Chicago White Sox. One of the best strikeout pitchers in the game. So it's awesome to have a high-profile person like Dylan Cease. If you know baseball, you know Dylan Cease. He was the runner-up for the Cy Young Award in 2022 and had an up and down 2023, had some injuries. So we're expecting a big 2024 from him, not just on the baseball diamond, but also in the disc golf world, manning Olympus. And so we're super excited for this event. Thomas, why don't you give us some details on course layout, design?
Yeah. So just for your reference, because I think it's really helpful when you watch a Disc Golf Pro Tour event on coverage rather than being there in person. If you go to the Disc Golf Pro Tour website, you can always find the caddy book, which is just a great reference point. If you're curious about the hole and what's being what is the design of that hole, what's the distance to it, what are some unique rules that might be played on it, you can go to the Disc Golf Pro Tour website for each event, and the caddy book is available for you to download to see the differences between the MPO and the FPO side. And the breakdown on it for the MPO side is that we'll play just a little over 10,000 feet, which is a long course, but we're probably sitting maybe a little on the shorter end of what some of these courses play overall, at least as we push to longer disc golf.
Correct.
I would say this is on the longer end of historic disc golf.
Right. This 10,000 is the standard at this point. Let's be real. We're not going to be playing a whole ton of courses that are less than 10,000 feet. But, I mean, your local disc golf course is probably somewhere between 4,000 and 6,000 feet.
It's just a completely different animal. And so the men will play a par 66 at 10,281 feet. The FPO will play a par 68 at 9,421 feet.
Wow.
There's nothing really crazy rule-wise across the board, though Trey and I were talking prior. Hole 18, there's an indicator on here that I haven't seen historically. Maybe it's because this is Paul McBeth's course, so he's involved in the layout. Is hole 18 has an island on it, and so you have to have a PDGA approved waiver to have an island hole because it's not technically a true PDGA rule to have an island hole. And if you haven't seen prior, there was a discrepancy in the rules at a tournament that Paul was playing in. I can't remember the exact event, but Paul's disc hits the island, goes off the island, and then Paul argues saying that he doesn't believe that the tournament director has acquired an approved PDGA waiver for the island hole. Won the disagreement. He played a provisional from where he thought he should play, played the other shot as it was. After the event, they decided that Paul was correct, and he got his stroke back on that. And so this would make sense that Paul would have this on hole 18, had this approved island hole waiver. I'll see if they go and do this the rest of the season. But having read these, I have not seen this on here prior, but maybe I've just missed it.
Yeah, and kudos to Paul for knowing the rules.
He is a rule fanatic, and I love it.
Hey, the Bill Belichick of disc golf.
He is. So with that in mind, going into this season, we like making disc golf picks. Last season, we did some fantasy throughout the season with our friends, and we'll probably continue to do some of that, maybe on a lower scale. But we really want to make these picks with you guys on this podcast and compete against each other throughout the season. And with that in mind, we'll follow a similar structure to last year, but this time around, we've been doing this for a year. Last time, for this type of event, the first one of the year, we didn't have a reference point for how we should actually be doing this, and I think we fell into a good rhythm last year. So we're going to follow suit with doing each of us picking a winner, picking a podium finisher separately, and then a third separate pick would be a forge pick. That is somebody that is outside of the top 40 in this tournament, specifically outside of the top 40 PDGA rated players in the event, that will finish inside the top 10 with a little caveat. Though, Trey, talk about what we'll do in the future for that.
Yeah, so we're going to be using...
There will be a separate segment we talk about later in more detail, but there will be
some World Tour rankings that are going to be coming out from the PDGA. And so once those come out, we'll start using those ratings to determine that top 40. But for now, we're going to use the top 40 rated players playing in the event.
Exactly.
To make our forge pick. Last year it was top 30, and we thought that was too easy. We had to make it a little harder on ourselves.
We did. Now, with this in mind, though, on the MPO side, it'll be top 40. On the FPO side, we'll start off with top 20. We may tailor that based on the size of the event. In this case, we've got just over 40 players. We'll probably stick with around half, probably rounded down a little bit since that field is typically smaller.
Right.
Though on the MPO side, you get 10 points for a winner. You get 5 points for choosing the winner correctly.
Correct.
5 points for correctly choosing a separate player that would be on the podium, tied third or better. And then your forge pick, if they are in the top 10 but not in the top 5, you get 6 points. If they are in the top 5, 3 points for in the top 10 but not in the top 5. 6 points if they are in the top 5.
We thought that made a lot of sense since a forge pick, someone outside the top 40, is someone who's really kind of coming up to the occasion and having a great event. To get into the top 5, that's almost a more important, that's like almost a higher value pick than someone making the podium like, oh yeah, Calvin Allenberg's going to make the podium. Like,
That's a much easier thing to pick as a high percentage play.
exactly. And so we want these forge picks to matter. And so
There is one other difference, though, in how we make our picks. Do you want to explain that?
yeah, so last year there would be opportunities where we would pick the same player, even at the same slot. Like we might both pick,
Calvin Heinberg to win.
Calvin Heinberg to win, Isaac Robinson to place. We
Ethan Scott to
forge. We do love picking Aiden to be our forge pick. But this year we are doing it as a draft style pick.
Yeah.
Here in a second, we're gonna play an intense game of rock paper scissors to determine who goes first.
All right, we're going to go 2 out of 3.
Yeah, of course we'll go 2 out of
deal.
3. But the winner of the rock paper scissors will get the first pick, and they can pick their winner. They can pick their forge pick. They could pick their podium finisher. First overall, whoever they want to pick first, they just have to fill in their 3 slots, and we'll go back and forth.
Correct.
Now, this week we're doing it with rock paper scissors. From here on out, the loser, so whoever's losing in terms of points
Total throughout the season.
throughout the season, will get the first pick.
Correct. And with that in mind, the only caveat there is if there's a tie for any reason in points, the opposite person that did not go first the prior week will go for tied in points collectively.
Or we'll bring rock, paper, scissors back.
Or we bring rock, paper, scissors back. So we'll do MPO, and then FPO will be the opposite person going first.
Makes sense to me.
All right.
All right.
Ready? On shoot?
Absolutely. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, yeah.
Trey takes it, and Trey gets the honor of going first.
All right. So I won. So I'm going to get the first pick on the MPO side. Thomas is going to wind up getting the first pick on the FPO side, but we're going to snake it. And so I will get the first pick, and then Thomas will pick 2 and 3.
And then we'll go back and forth 2 picks at a time from there.
Correct.
You have to finish MPO first before you can go into FPO.
Correct.
Got it. Who are you going to take for your first pick?
So for my first pick, I'm going to make what I think is the safest pick in this entire field. I'm going to take Paul Macbeth on the podium.
Sure.
Owner and designer of the course. He's coming back with a vengeance in 2024, had injuries and went to Europe. So it just didn't seem like the Paul Macbeth we're used to. He wasn't even an all-star this year. Paul Macbeth was not at the all-star weekend.
Yeah. And now he would have been, I think, and then decided to opt out because he was having a kid. Is that how that worked out at the end of last year?
I think he was like 30th in points. So he was not invited.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so
that makes sense. And honestly, Paul this year, he didn't play the full tour last year on like the true Disc Golf Pro Tour. He went overseas, played lots of events over there. It would make sense that given it's his course, he'd be out here ready to like make a mark on the season.
Oh, absolutely. So I think I'm just going to try to get some points on the board here. Just try to get my 5. I have no doubt in my mind that Paul Macbeth is going to be on the podium of this event.
Good deal. I'm going to go with the safe pick as well. I'm going to take the podium as well, and I'm going to pick Calvin Heinberg.
King of the podium. It's not a bad pick at all.
I wish I had the chance to take Paul, though, for that podium because both you and I picked him as our winner prior, but we're both trying to go for points. So we're confident that these people could also win the event, but we're going to play the safe bet thinking.
And you still get the podium points if they win.
Exactly.
You just don't get the winner points.
So on the winner's side, this was a close one. I had a couple people that I was picking between, but I think this year because Ricky's not dealing with a Lyme disease flare-up, I'm going to pick him as my winner for this event.
I mean, it's hard to doubt Ricky. He won the Pro Tour Championship. He's coming off the end of the season winning the big money event.
Such as he usually does.
Yeah, I mean, he always kills it at the Pro Tour finale. And a healthy Ricky is a dangerous Ricky to all other players.
It is.
Now, so I guess I can kind of make these in any order. Can we pull up the list of players so I know where I'm picking from?
Yeah.
On the Forge side?
Yeah, we've got this right here. Our just out of the money picks are Chandler Kramer and Albert Tam that you are not allowed to pick, and anybody rated lower than them at 1021 or lower is somebody that you can pick. Starting with those at 1021, Evan Scott, Jeremy Colling, Robert Burridge, Austin Turner, and Gavin Babcock, and those underneath that.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and pick my winner, and I'm going high risk here. I think.
All right.
High risk to some, not to me. I know this guy's been working really hard this offseason. He's got a great game plan for going into this year. I'm picking Eric Oakley.
Eric Oakley,
win.
baby.
I think Eric Oakley's got a big season ahead of him. If you look at some of the analytics, he is one of the most improved players from 2022 to 2023. And I just don't see how that changes going into 2024. The guy's he's a man on a mission. He's ready to take one down. And I think he's just going to start off great. And I think the beginning of the season, everyone's trying to figure out their game, shake off a little bit of rust. Eric's already there. He's ready to go. And I just think Eric Oakley's going to win. And then for my Forge pick, I kind of hard to believe that this person is outside the top 40 in rankings. He's been playing for forever, and he had an excellent second half of the season last year. Like probably the most improved over the season.
I know where you're going here.
I'm taking the tour life man himself, Paul Euless.
I knew when you were talking had a crazy second half of the season. When we started to realize Paul is pulling it back.
Paul is like 2016 Paul. It was a lot of fun to see him shred like he used to. And I think, this course is going to play to his game. He has every shot in the game. He's a very accurate player. And I really think he's just going to build off the second half of the season and grab himself a top 10, maybe even a little top 5 action.
Let's make it happen. All right, so for my Forge pick, I'm going to go with Zach Arlinghouse.
Oh.
I think that should be a good one. He finished 7th place in the Las Vegas Challenge last year, and I believe outside of that, he didn't have any other top 10 finishes. He finished 12th at the Preserve. He finished 24th at Declo in 2023. He's just a really good player, and I would not be surprised to see him pop off, at least as a Forge pick specifically.
Absolutely not. Look at last year. He's known to have some great starts to the season, so would not be surprising to see Arlinghouse crack the top 10.
Not at all. So, for reference here, Chris Nachar is not playing in this event. She won't be over here just yet. But for my podium pick, I'm going to pick Holland Handley on the FPO side.
That makes sense. Again, you're kind of just looking at consistency there. Holland was in contention in so many events last year. Winning Throw Pink, kind of the culmination of that.
Yeah.
I like that pick. I think I like my pick a little bit better. I'm going to go with Big Money Missy to take the dub.
Oh.
I think Missy is taking this one down. She won the All-Star Weekend event with her team. Was she the best player on their team on that weekend? Not necessarily, but she's had a week to play the course already. And when the light shines the brightest, Missy shows up.
She does.
And so I'm picking her to win. Now for my podium pick, I think this person is going to be the most improved player on the FPO side this season. I'm going to take Evelina Salonen. Evelina is going to come this season with a putt.
She is.
She improved over the year. It was not pretty at times, especially early in the season, but she worked some things out. From what I can see, she worked really hard in the off season through what you could see through social media. She was definitely working on her game. She's willing to take any input she can get from folks who know what they're talking about. I think Evelina is going to definitely podium this event.
I love it. I'm going to go on the opposite end of coming from the same side of the world. I'm going to come in with Henna Blumroos as my winner of the event. I think that she's had a lot of struggles on the putting as well, but I'm going to throw the confidence on the winning side of that bet right there. And then to round it off, we've got our Forge picks left for the FPO side are just out of the money, are Lucky Lorenzen and Paige Shue, both sitting at 948. And then anybody below there, starting with Morgan Lins, Madison Walker, Deanne Carey, Emily Beach. And we've got several people over here. I'm going to start it off And I'm going to pick Erica Stinchcomb to go in and grab, and we've decided on a top 5 finish coming from outside.
Wow. I think Erica had some struggles last season, just figuring out her new bag.
Yeah.
She'd been with Westside forever. And so she's, learning her new bag. I think she's definitely a great pick. I definitely thought about Erica, but I'm so glad you did not take my pick, because I think this person is about to pop off and be potentially a top 10 player by the end of the season.
Who are you rolling with?
I'm rolling with 16-year-old and Ellie Midling.
Distance champion right here.
She can throw so far. And her form is so crisp. She is obviously trained to have good form. It's not, some folks have unique form that works for them. This is clear-cut, compact throwing. And she has all aspects of her game. And I think the FPO field needs to watch out. I think Krista Tatar needs to watch out.
Yeah.
Because this girl, she's only 16 years old. It kind of is reminiscent of a Gannon Burr. She reminds me a lot of Gannon.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. Just the way that she is seemingly grown up in the game and is ready to take the tour by storm.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. So the day that we're filming this is Wednesday, the 21st of February. We've got this event starting on Friday, the 23rd of February. It'll be a 3-round event, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You can catch it on the Disc Golf Network. We talked about the updated subscription plans that we're looking to sign up for that pro version, though. If you currently have a subscription, you have to wait for your current membership segment to expire before you're allowed to pay for the updated membership. I'm not sure if you've tried to do it yet.
So I looked into it, and what I did is I emailed the FAQ.
And you asked them to go ahead and cancel you and set it up.
So
I attempted to ask, because mine had been billed 2 days prior to us looking at it, and asked if they could just include that or prorate it by a couple days and credit it on it. And they told me no. I was a little sad. I'm okay, so there's not an option to transition over to that. Feels kind of sad.
That is kind of sad. But
I was hoping for a little more on that end, just because I feel like it's common to allow that if you're going to switch up your subscription plan. And so, especially because Trey and I want to go ahead and secure tickets to the Music City Open, I want to go ahead and make that change now rather than March 16th, a month prior to the event actually happening.
Right.
I could wait. I don't think there's anything wrong with us waiting until a month prior, but I would like to go ahead and get my tickets. But I guess I'll wait.
Yeah, I've already secured that.
You did go ahead and secure the tickets?
Well, not the tickets, but
You secured the plan?
Yeah, so we're going to make that happen. But
with that, we're going to move on. Trey, I want you to finish off the rest of this podcast, give us a brief update on the world ranking, and then run into the new disc update to end the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So first thing, the official Disc Golf World Rankings are returning. They stopped around COVID through the PDGA. They stopped their world rankings just because there were too few events and they didn't have the ample sample size to create their rankings, is what their statement says. And so they have teamed up with Mark Brody and Dylan Byrne of Sport Edge. And Brody was a developer for the program for the ranking system that the PGA uses, which is pretty dang cool that we're able to jump on, get someone like him involved in our rankings as well.
Yeah.
And so the ranking input is going to be used the last 2 years of events, and they're going to, I'm looking at they have a rankings calculation engine where they have 5 different fields where they're talking about sourcing an event and making it into a standardized hypothetical course. Performance on the neutral course is used to generate a point output. Points are then weighted based on the type of event. So majors are going to be weighted the highest, and a C tier, I don't even know if it'll make it into the rankings. It'll be weighted very low if it is. And then they will use that past 2 years of eligible events, and they're going to have a weighted system where the more recent events are more important, obviously. And then it'll generate an output that provides the rankings that they use. And so Obviously, I don't know the inner workings, the algorithms. I mean, it's not as good as Thomas's algorithm for the Forge Sports Media Index. But it does sound like they've done a lot of work to provide a good ranking system. We'll see what it looks like. If Paul Macbeth is number one, we'll know it's wrong.
Exactly. Now, I guess ours will always be a little different because there's our world ranking long term. We like to run on the power side, see who's currently playing the best.
That is true.
Which is the better ranking system anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
Ain't nothing quite like the Forge Power Index.
And we'll definitely be bringing that back this season. So,
with that in mind, Trey, we have, is it one or multiple new discs that you're going to update us on?
Yeah, I mean, I think there. You guys can go to the PDGA website. They've actually changed up their formatting a little bit since I did this last, and the new discs have their own little section now where it's not just listed in the updates.
Right.
And so it's a lot easier to look through and see what they've got going on. But they're I'll note briefly, Stokely Discs, which is Scott Stokely is designing his own discs now. I think he's working alongside Gateway Discs to do this process, but his first two discs got approved. I think that was 2 days ago, so on Monday, and that is the Wren and the Cardinal. So be looking out for those. Scott's an excellent ambassador for the sport.
Yeah.
So I will definitely be looking forward to trying these out. I'd say they'll be coming to retailers and everywhere, and so super excited for Scott to get that opportunity to do that. But the real disc I want to talk about is the Discraft Drive. Now, the Discraft Drive is the newest disc in the Page Pierce line. It is shockingly enough, a putter. No, I'm just kidding. It's a distance driver. It's supposed to be from what I've heard, is a slightly more stable scorch.
Yeah.
So
I can see that with the profile of this disc right here.
It's going to be a little bit, I think maybe a little faster and a little more stable than the Scorch. So a pretty stable, not overstable, but a pretty stable flyer, probably somewhere in the flight numbers of like an 11.5, -2.2, or -2.3. Somewhere in like a Wraith range, perhaps.
Yeah, something that gives you a whole lot of distance with maybe a little bit less effort.
Yeah.
Large flex lines more often.
Yeah, and it's a workable disc. The big arms are going to be able to hyzer flip it with ease.
Right.
But for a player like me and you, this could be just a great straight flyer for you and I. And so Page Pierce has come out with some awesome discs. The Passion is in pretty much every Discraft Pro's bag at this point.
Sure.
The Fierces are a great putter. Notable putter of the Fierce is my wife.
Yeah.
She loves her Fierces. She has 3. And so shout out to Rachel for bagging the Fierce. But the Drive, I think will be, it almost seems like it's a faster version of the Passion.
Yeah.
And so I think that'll be an excellent addition to the Discraft lineup and a great addition to Page's bag, probably.
Definitely. Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it up?
No, I think that's it. Thanks so much for watching. If you made it this far, we really, really appreciate you. And if you're not subscribed, we'd really love it if you would do that. It's really easy. Just click the button. And then you can always check us out on our socials. We're on Instagram and TikTok. We make shorts. We do short form content a lot. And in the coming weeks, we're going to get back on the course and film some content for you guys. And so just stay tuned for that. And thanks so much.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Catch y'all in the next one.